I think we're built to doubt ourselves. Right? Like, it's very natural for us to think we can't do things. We don't like being uncomfortable. We try to put ourselves in positions of safety, right? Which don't mean growth.
Yeah.
Right? We're very negative by nature. So, like, dude, I trick myself all the time. Like, half the shit I tell myself, my first thought is like, dude, you're lying to yourself. Seriously. I just don't stop telling myself till eventually I believe it. It's like what they say, right? Tell yourself a lie enough times, you believe it.
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Based on positivity. I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. Soon enough, you think you could do it. The crazy part is, if you think you could do it, you can do it.
Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth podcast. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Today in the building, Mikey Taylor. Let's go.
What's going on?
Dude, this is a big podcast for the 413 kids that I grew up with. I was never even into skating, but I remember growing up watching the Barracks, watching Fully Flared, we got a chance to meet Mike Mo, Brandon Beeble, all these guys, seeing you on the Barracks, and now I'm sitting across from you right now, Mikey Taylor, in the Purpose in the Youth studio. Let's go.
Yeah.
How you doing today, Mikey?
I'm doing good, man. I'm stoked to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. I mean, for somebody that, I think what's so interesting about your story is that, you know, and what's also interesting listening to past podcasts is like, skating has been your big passion, and you knew that at some point that was going to come to an end. And obviously, as we're going to get into it, it probably came to an end maybe a little bit sooner than you thought. But have there been, now in this new chapter of your life, being an entrepreneur and being somebody that's in real estate, has there been like a lesson that you learned from skating that you still are constantly reminding yourself of today? Like, oh, that was something that I learned back then, or it's kind of like a certain thing you've carried with you?
You know what? Yes. But the reason is because I do interviews like this. Like, a lot of times people ask, what did you learn through skateboarding that like has transferred over to what you do now? And there's always probably two that really were impactful and kind of where my life went. One, skating's hard as shit, right? It takes a long time to, and even like before then, like even as a kid, right? Like to learn a trick, I think like a kickflip, they say it takes like 1,000 tries to learn how to kickflip. It took me 8 months of trying to kickflip every single day for 8 months, right? So from an early age, I learned that it doesn't matter when you do it. It only matters that you do it, right? So I got accustomed to like, okay, this is going to take me a long-ass time. And as long as I don't give up, as cliche as it sounds, I'm going to succeed.
Yeah.
And so that really transferred over to me, like in not only business, relationships, everything. I just know that like I don't need instant gratification. I don't need to win tomorrow. I just need to win. And that is done by just relentlessly working at it.
Yeah. And just constantly showing up, keep putting in the work.
Yeah. And I think like people are scared of that. Like even though like we like on whether it's like podcasts or books, we talk about the importance of just working or doing.
Yeah.
But people get discouraged. They do something for a month and it's not working. They give up. They do something for 6 months. They give up.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to do something for 10 years if it means I'm going to do it one time at 11.
Yeah.
You know, I just think like I just became comfortable in that environment.
I think the one common theme that I'm hearing in all these guests that I'm sitting down with, entrepreneurs, skateboarders, BMX riders, podcasters, they are just people that have pushed through that wall of the unknown.
Yeah.
Is this little podcast gonna take me to LA and sit down with somebody like yourself? That's the common theme I'm seeing across from everybody. So sometimes I feel like I know exactly what's coming, and I'm just like, but there was a time in my life when I didn't understand that, and I was scared to fail, and I thought that if it doesn't work out, everyone's got to point and laugh at me, and now I'm like, it doesn't matter. As long as I have the vision, as long as you have the vision for what you want, it's just a matter of time.
What do they say? Like the person who wins is the one who sticks with it the longest.
Yeah.
Right? Whoever can eat shit the longest wins.
Yeah.
That's seriously this whole game. It's this whole world. Just like who can like put up longer.
Who's going to keep running? It's literally it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Like that's what I kind of look at it as. I have all these people running next to me, but I'm gonna keep running.
Yeah,
you're not gonna keep up with me.
I'm totally with you. I have a very similar view. I'm long play, long term.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and I think when you look at it that way, it's just you you make your ability to succeed so much better.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're not getting, it's not holding you back in the day-to-day, like,
Totally.
BS that probably happens all the time.
Yeah.
Before we get into a lot of what's going on with your life today, I definitely think it's important to kind of paint that picture of how you've gotten to where you are today. So describe to me, was it Agoura Hills that you grew up in or Newberry Park?
I grew up in Agoura.
Agoura.
Yeah.
What's this place like for you growing up? And that's, for people listening, that's Ventura County. It's
Agoura is LA County.
Oh, it is LA.
Yeah, so
oh,
Westlake it's right on the border. Exactly.
I know people I got out here get a little.
Yeah.
You said it was from Ventura County.
Yeah.
What's this place like for you growing up?
So, man, when I was growing up, it was suburbs.
Yeah.
There were, God, it felt very normal, and I know like my childhood could look totally different than yours, and all we know is that, so it felt normal. All I could explain is like it was like there was nothing that bad. People weren't like, I felt safe, like we left the doors unlocked at night. Like it was like a very like suburb, like California area, and like a middle class environment, right? Maybe upper middle class. And I was just like cruising, man. We played like tag, we played baseball, we like rode bikes. It was like I had a very normal childhood, I think.
Yeah.
My shit didn't get exciting until I started skating. I was like as vanilla as it gets up until that point. Yeah.
I know. The thing is, growing up in California, you guys got like the perfect weather year round. So to you, it just seems
totally.
I'm going up on the East Coast shoveling at 12, trying to help my parents clean off the car.
Oh yeah.
Out
like
here.
Look, like seriously, man. Like I up until skating, I had no adversity. Like there was nothing I had to like work through or struggle with. It was like. It was easy.
Yeah.
Granted, I was like, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but still,
you don't even know what
I didn't even see my parents go through pain. Like we had no like struggle up until I started skating. That's where I experienced like growth. That's the thing that brought me up in a sense. But up until that point, it was like
everything's bliss.
Yeah.
I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Speaking of the parents, what do you think was one of the greatest lessons they taught you growing up?
Man, I would say I never felt like I couldn't accomplish anything, right? Like I was always taught that I could be and do whatever I want as long as I'm willing to do it. And then two, I think like my parents had a really healthy relationship, which is probably like, I'm married now, which like I am so thankful for seeing that, but like seeing parents like not have a perfect relationship, but like seeing them have issues that they were able to work through, and that was a huge blessing for me as a kid to see that as normal.
Yeah,
a lot of kids don't see that anymore.
I know, and that's what scares me. I think just the little lessons that you see from the parents of like the love. I just literally, speaking of that, I literally just got back from celebrating my parents' 30th wedding anniversary,
totally.
and it's
and
like
that's not the normal.
Exactly. And that's where I'm realizing like there's so much lessons that I probably take for granted that now I'm like, damn, like not every kid gets a chance to grow up with that.
Yeah.
And now, especially too, I would imagine too, as now you're in your marriage, you probably can translate understanding and how what it takes to actually work that type of relationship.
Now even thinking about it, like that might have been maybe the most valuable thing I've ever learned from them. Seriously, like all the like my dad was good with money. My dad like worked hard, like all of that. Like great, but like being in a marriage now and seeing that as a kid that like marriage is not perfect.
Yeah,
marriage takes work. Going to a counselor is normal and healthy. Learning tools to communicate is normal. Like, dude, that might have been the best thing I ever learned from them. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because now I'm in a marriage where it's challenging and hard and it's not perfect and everything around me is not what we have, right? Everybody we see around us, it's like I see people splitting up.
Yeah.
Right? That's become the normal. So like to have that as a kid and know like, okay, I'm going to get into this. It's going to be hard. I'm going to work through it.
Yeah.
Has blessed me. It really has.
What did your parents do growing up? Like what were their
My
careers?
dad was a photographer.
Okay.
My mom was an artist.
Oh, what type of artist?
Painted.
Yeah,
acrylics.
Nice. You didn't pick up the paintbrush? That wasn't you?
My sister. I can't paint for shit, man. I wasn't blessed with that. I have a creative eye, but in a different way than them.
Yeah.
Like my mom is like the typical creative.
Yeah.
Like she sees it, visions it, and then can demonstrate it through her art. She's got a beautiful gift. My sister the same way.
Yeah.
My brother and I didn't get that.
Nah, that wasn't
I
part
was
of your
creative
genes.
in a different way, man. I was creative like on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy shooting photos, so like I maybe have a little bit of that, but No, I'm not like an ultra creative.
No, not the ultra creative type.
No.
You had mentioned you tried baseball growing up. I know doing some research, you tried hockey at one point, BMX, and it wasn't until you had seen this kid, AJ, who inspired you to pick up a board. Pick up a, I think it was a.
Where did you get it? Did I say that before?
Yeah, that's what I came across online.
You're right.
I'm gonna hold you to it. You heard it. I heard it on a podcast.
AJ Phillips.
Shout out to AJ Phillips.
Yeah.
But like, even when you were just talking about too of like the whole it takes 1,000 tries to get the kickflip down. When you first get onto the board, you start skating. What's getting you to get back up and keep pushing, even though you're falling on your face? You're probably getting bumps and bruises. Like, why get back on the board?
I'm obsessive. At the end of the day, I'm obsessive. The things that I got into, like when it was baseball didn't last long because my first practice, we were playing catch and I missed catch. It hit me in the eye. It was like I was in first grade. I quit. That was the last time I did it. Right?
I'm out.
So baseball was one practice. From there, when I was in like biking, I wanted to be a pro biker. I was like obsessed with it. It's all I could think of. I wanted to be the best at it. The thing that happened prior to skateboarding was that it always had like a short lifespan. Right? I'd bike for like 6 months and then I'd be over it. It lost its like grab on me. And then I started playing hockey. And hockey actually grabbed me longer than most. I played hockey for like probably 7 years.
Wow.
And I was like pretty good at it. I was traveling. I was on an ice hockey team. I was the captain. I was good at it. And I wanted to be a pro ice hockey player. I want to play professional ice hockey or hockey, right? And then it was like I started skating, and it was like there was something very unique about skating where like I had always done these like team things.
Yeah.
And this was the first thing where like it wasn't about winning. It was just about beating myself, right? It was all about me. And maybe it was like selfish, but like it grabbed me and never let go. And I don't know if it was because it was something that was like just me, if it was so hard that I never felt like I mastered it. I don't know. But that was the one thing that just it never let go. 25 years later, it never let go.
I think that's probably the big thing too of just it's a you sport.
Yeah.
You're not relying on, even though you're the captain of the hockey team or you're playing baseball with other people, it's like this is literally on you. So you want to go practice all night, or do you want to go pick up the board and skate all night or all weekend? Yeah. It's going to be on you to get better.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a big thing. Like for me, everything was always scheduled, right? Like if I had hockey, it was like I had hockey practice. I go there and do this. Then we had a team. Then we had
you got travel.
Skating,
you
it was
like
seriously anytime I wanted to do it, I could step on it and do it.
Yeah.
You know, but I will say, dude, like I'm grabbed towards things that are hard, right? There's a certain challenge to it that I'm trying to master it, and so the things that are easy don't grab me, at least for a long amount of time. Skating is so hard, like seriously. 25 years later, and I still feel like I suck, and I have so much more to go. It's just so hard, you know. So I think that was a big part of it. But no, I have never had anything grab me like that.
Yeah, and
for that long amount of time.
And then it just gets to you, and then you realize like this is something I want to stick to. I'm gonna keep going through.
I just didn't want to give it up.
Yeah,
totally. That's why I became a pro. I didn't want to give it up. You know,
I became a pro, baby. I'm a professional skateboarder.
Yeah, it was a hack to not have to work. That's all it was.
Yeah. High school though, like how would you describe who Mikey was then?
Quiet and shy.
Yeah.
Actually, skating wasn't cool.
Not at all.
No, skating wasn't cool. We were like the outcasts. Everyone hated us. I had like seriously 9 friends that like we were tight, but it was like us against the world.
Wow.
Right. And prior to that, like when I was in middle school, I was the man. Right. I had like all these friends. I was like the cool kid, and then I started skating, and like all the kids I hung out with, their parents wouldn't want to let them hang out with me anymore.
Just because you skated?
Because I skated, right? Skating wasn't what it is now. It was like, you know, if you skated, you were like a deadbeat drug addict that's going nowhere.
Wow.
Right? And so like I experienced that, and then I moved into Newbury Park when I was starting my freshman year. So I went from like middle school being the man, started skating 8th grade, started kind of losing friends, moved into a new city, new high school, have no friends, and I'm a skater.
Wow.
You know, so that was like an experience, man. Like going from like being like a very outgoing kid to like no one likes you.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like a lot of people at that point would just say, well, I'm not going to skate anymore because
you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
But there was beauty in a sense of like those guys who skated, it was almost like a gang feeling.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, you hear about people who join gangs because they don't have a family at home, but they have this community. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, these are my guys for life.
Yeah.
You know, and it was almost to the point where like when we go to other cities to skate, like you'd see a kid skating, you wouldn't know him, know nothing about him, but like you guys would see each other, you'd be instantly cool. And
kind
if
of like
you needed
a respect
it was
thing?
legit, almost to the point of like if I needed a place to stay, you go, hey, can I stay at your house tonight? Sure. Like skating was special in that sense. So like it wasn't so bad that like no one liked us because we felt so much love inside our community.
Wow.
You know?
So it was like a synergy almost.
Totally. Yeah.
And when college came, it was this ultimatum your mom gave you. It was you had convinced her or something that 2 years, I'm going to find a way to make a living off skating. But within that time, you go from making $0 to making just as much as your parents, which is unbelievable. Looking back, like how important was it to have that pressure of, Mikey, we're giving you 2 years. If you don't figure this out, you're going to go to college or you're going to get a job.
You know what, man? That might have been like maybe the most uncomfortable point of my life.
You were scared? You were scared?
Like the last 2 years. But like prior to that, that was hard, dude. And it wasn't even them. Like I wanted my mom's blessing, but like truthfully, I would have done it anyway. Right? I just wanted her blessing.
Yeah.
But there was something that was uncomfortable for me because, like, dude, we hear about it now, right? The message is like, you don't have to go to college. You could be an entrepreneur. You can make your own money. Like, that wasn't what was told to me. Like, when I was in high school, like, it was told, if you don't go to college, you won't be shit. That was it, right? You couldn't even get in the door to get, like, a nice job or have some type of security. So, like, I felt like at a point of me deciding to do this, I was, like, letting go of, like, this idea of what my life was going to be like, right? And that was hard. That was like scary. Like, okay, like I feel like, okay, I had this idea, like I was going to be a lawyer, right? That's what I thought. Wow. I'm going to be this lawyer. I'm going to make good money. I'm going to have a family, this house, be able to travel. And like part of me was like, okay, shit, like I'm not really going to have a lot of money. You know, like I'm going to be like on minimum wage. Like no one's ever going to hire me, but like I'll be a pro skater. Yeah. So like that was scary, dude. So like originally I was going to start skating and my fallback was I was going to go back and go to college. And then I would like go down the normal like conventional path of like career and then so on and so forth.
So what were you doing within that 2 years to escalate you from making $0 to then finally making enough money to live off of that?
So right before I graduated is when like I had this discussion with my mom, right? You got to go to college. No, I want to skate, right? And she was like, well, look, can you make some money? Because like I'm not going to pay you. Like I'm not paying you to go do this. Like you're out of high school. And I was like, well, I'll use this as leverage to get some money, right? So I called my sponsors and like I played my mom as the bad guy. I was like, hey man, my mom really wants me to go to college. I think I probably should, unless I can make some money doing this. I really want to keep skating, but like if I can't make money, I gotta go to school, so I'm gonna have to quit. You know, and two of my sponsors budged, man. They were like, all right, look, like we'll give you $500, and the other one gave me $300. So I was making $800 a month. Wow. You know, I was 19, and I was like off to the races.
And at this time, are you just technically, is this like you're an amateur?
I'm an amateur.
You're an amateur. Mm-hmm. And as a sponsor, are they just giving you kind of free products? It's just kind of like this brand alignment?
Yeah, so I got free product, free shoes, skateboards, clothes, and $800 a month.
Wow. But that was enough to keep her quiet for the time being.
Yeah, and the big thing more than anything is they were starting to advertise me. So they were running ads of me. So that was the biggest change of like I had now companies behind me that were making a name for me.
So now you're becoming the face of it. You weren't necessarily just some guy that's skating getting all this free
product.
I
was starting to get some recognition.
Wow. Yeah. How important was it? I know you had grown up with P-Rod, who's another professional skater. How important was it that you had like all these guys to skate with? Because I think a majority of them ended up going pro, which says a lot about the people that you're surrounding yourself with. How important was that?
I mean, dude, everything. Yeah, it's like they say now, dude, you are who you surround yourself with. It was like, kind of to put it in perspective, it's rare for one of your homies to go pro. Yeah. Right? If you have like 5 or 10 skaters in your squad, it's rare for one to go pro. Mm-hmm. Out of my squad, which was like 10 guys, 7 of them went pro. It's not normal, right? And the thing that was really special about me is I was the worst, right? Like these guys were all better than me. Paul, best skateboarder ever step on a skateboard. Skid, just in case, most talented kid ever. Van, unbelievably talented. So like I was surrounded by people better than me. Yeah. So my whole like goal was to always be as good as them. So I was constantly being pushed. So for me, it did wonders. If I wouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't have moved to Newbury Park, wouldn't have met those kids, because in Newbury it had this insane skate scene. If I wouldn't have met those kids, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be a pro skateboarder.
Never.
No.
Not a chance.
No, I wouldn't have thought it was possible.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Agora, man, like I just had a skateboard and saw like the pros in the movies. There was no like idea that like I could be that until I moved to Newbury and saw like people skating in person as good as the people I was watching the videos.
When you're saying in the movies, who are you looking up to at the time?
So we were looking up like Andrew Reynolds, Eric Costin, Mike Carroll, Jamie Thomas, right? And so like they were the furthest thing from our reality, right? And then I moved to Newbury and I see this kid Stewart and Justin and Van. They're doing all the tricks that I'm watching the guys do in the videos. And then they were getting sponsored. So it was like almost like, oh my God, this is possible. Like people do this, you know? So that, I mean, dude, that played a huge part in my life.
Yeah. Did you find that you guys' relationships, especially skating with all these guys at the time, is this more of like a competitive but friendly relationship, or is it we're all in it together? We're all
in it together. Skating is and I think it's still the same now, but skating has always been of like very like community, like tight knit group. Like we're all gonna get this, you know. And like it was like competitive, but like not like that.
Yeah.
Like we all wanted everybody to win.
Yeah. And there's enough room for everybody to win, especially within that type of.
Yeah, and like how it works, right? Like there's no first place, right? So when we go to a spot. And like, let's say we were going to skate a handrail. The objective was for all of us to get tricks. It wasn't about who got the best trick.
Yeah.
It was who got the best trick for them.
Yeah.
You know, so we were always like trying to push people like, hey, dude, you could do this. Make this happen. You know, it was cool.
Keep going. Keep pushing.
Yeah.
Even if you fall, get back up, Mikey.
Yeah.
We need to see something big.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it almost would be like you and I selling two different products with two completely different customers, right?
Yeah.
And like me going like, hey, dude, you got this. You could sell this. Step it up, right? It doesn't affect my money at all because we're selling two different things.
Yeah.
Right? That's how skating felt, even though we were in the same world. It felt just like that. Like by you doing better, I didn't lose any clout or money or steam or nothing. So it was like...
You want to see everyone landing their tricks. And it's not going to hurt you if they land and you don't.
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, man. It's just crazy thinking about like Eric Koss and like all these guys that you're growing up probably watching, and then at some point in your career... These are guys that you get to know, you get to shake hands with, you get to skate with. Like, I can't even imagine that transition.
Trippy.
Dude, oh my.
Really trippy.
God.
Yeah.
Was there ever a certain moment or person you got to meet that was just, I mean, there's probably been so many, but like one that you can think of right now that just, you couldn't believe that it was actually happening?
Yeah, Eric Costin.
Eric Costin.
Yeah, first time I saw him in real life, I was like shaking. Like we went into this school because I wanted to do this trick on this rail, and we look in, it's like Eric Costin, Rick McCrank, Andrew Reynolds, like everybody there, right? But I was tripping on Eric Costin. And I was like, I went with like 4 of my friends. I was like, I can't go. Like, we can't go in there. And they're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I can't go in there, dude. Like, Eric Costin's there. Like, I'm not going in there. They forced me to go in there. And it was like, dude, that one day, the day I met Eric Costin, I ended up doing this trick down this rail. The photographer that was shooting them, this guy, Aaron Meza, shot for Skateboarder, ended up shooting me in a checkout, went into the magazines. Like, it was crazy.
So you just went there to skate, and then you ended up getting...
I went there to skate, saw those guys, tried to back out. My friends wouldn't let me back out, ended up skating with them, trying a trick. It was the most surreal experience. And
then you got in a magazine
got shot from them, got in a magazine. Yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy.
You need those friends that are going to push you through to those
I would have done it, man. Like, Eric Costin was, like, bigger than life for me. Like, I didn't want to, like, be in his presence. I didn't feel like I was, like, worthy.
You deserved it almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then that ended up being, like, one of the coolest things ever happened.
Oh, that is so amazing.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. When you know, as your career moves on, you end up, you know, you're getting sponsored by DC, Etny, Spitfire Wheels. Aside from like the money and the free gear, how are you feeling when you're reaching these milestones of these big brands now wanting to work with you?
That's a good question, man. Good and bad, actually. Like in the beginning, like when your career, so let me take a step back. Prior to me being a pro skateboarder, I just loved skating, right? It was like my passion, but also my outlet, right? So like when I had things that were happening in life, like skating was always the thing that I could do would clear my mind. Right? So if like there's shit happening, okay, I could just like do that, like space out and then go back to reality. When your passion becomes your career, it becomes a different thing entirely. It no longer becomes an outlet, right?
Yeah.
So there's a point where like it becomes your career, it's the best thing ever, everything happens so quick, and then you have this point of like struggle. Like you like a lot of people end up hating their passion because you take on so much more responsibility. You're now being eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a whole new type of pressure to perform, which you never had before.
It was more of just, I could skate whenever, now to I need to deliver
you need
photos,
to deliver
videos.
it all the time, you know? So it's like, and then even like when you go to skate parks, right? Like every kid knows you now. Every kid watches you. You can no longer enjoy your craft because you're so concerned about being this like fishbowl of everybody watching you, right? So there's a point where that happened, and it was tough for me. Like I was not happy. I was skating every day, but I hated skating. I was breaking a board every day. I was just like not enjoying it. I remember coming to a point where it was like, I hated the fact that I hated skating because I loved it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had to find a new way to love it again. And for me, it was like, okay, it started as my passion and my outlet. It took on this new form, which was my professional career. And I found this new love in the business side of it. And I know this sounds so weird, but like I started really getting into the how to sell more shoes, how to market myself to reach more people, how to grow my brand. And that brought this new love and passion to what I was doing that ended up like from that point on, I became obsessed with that side of it. You know?
What were some of the strategies that you were finding that were helping you get the Mikey Taylor name out there more?
Well, the challenge I had prior to social media was I was at will to my sponsors promoting me, right? And typically a company had, let's say, 10 athletes, 10 pros, and they'd run an ad in each, one ad a month in each magazine, right? So if you were a pro, you typically got one ad a year with your sponsor. So if you had 7 sponsors, you get 7 ads a year. Not that much, right? So like there was a challenge of like, how do I get myself out there beyond my sponsors? And I could never crack that code till social media hit, right? And that was really like the turning point, I think, in my career where it ended up becoming bigger than it was, not because I got better, because I was able to reach people myself. But once that happened, then I was able to find ways that I was actually able to connect with people. You know what really the ultimate answer, or the answer to your question, the ultimate lesson I learned was you have to learn how to connect with your audience beyond your talent. Right? People can only relate to you doing a tray flip so much. But when they actually get to know you and feel like they're a part of your process, your struggles, that's when somebody roots for you.
Yeah.
Right? And so I learned how to connect with an audience with my personality as opposed to me just riding a skateboard. And that's really what like took what I was doing to the next level.
Yeah, you're not just a skater anymore. You're an actual person. They get to know everything about you.
Which in turn sold way more product, right? Like if you look at it, like in my like prime to where I felt like I was doing the best shit on a skateboard, I was selling a fraction of the product to like towards the end of my career. That's when I was selling the most product.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. And now going through this process too, do you have like a manager? Is there a team of people behind you?
Well, each company has a team manager, which basically just organizes like when I needed product, semi-product, or he would organize our trips. As far as like my team,
like a day-to-day, like
nobody.
No. Is that still common?
I take that back.
He's gonna give a shout out to like the close friends.
Hang on. I had a great support system of friends.
Okay.
I had somebody helping me with money. I didn't have a agent or a manager. I didn't have anybody like helping me build my brand. I just had a financial / business manager / mentor.
But is that like common though for most professional skaters that they don't need a manager?
It depends on the level.
Yeah.
Most guys doing it like on a bigger level have agents or managers. The other guys who are kind of just doing it don't.
Yeah, I would
10% have them, 90% don't.
Do you think it's grown to now in the world we live in today with all the social media now? Do you think now more like them are getting managers because of it? Or?
Yeah, well, yeah, more people are getting managers. It's definitely more normal.
Yeah.
But dude, people had managers when I was skating.
Oh, okay.
All my friends had them. I just didn't have them.
Nah, you said I got the support team.
Well, I just struggled with it, to tell you the truth. Like, look, if you could have somebody in your life that's actually pushing your career forward, I'm totally fine giving them money to do that, or investing in them, investing in me, right?
Yeah.
But the problem I was seeing is a lot of these managers weren't doing anything that I felt I couldn't do, right? The only thing they were doing was picking up the phone call when the contract was over, negotiating the contract, and then taking 15% for the rest of the year, right? I felt like I could negotiate my own deals.
Yeah.
So I was like, why am I going to give you 15% for the year when all it really is a phone call? How about I'll give you 15% of I don't even know what it would be. Maybe an upfront fee.
Yeah, like the one transaction or something like
Yeah,
that.
look, dude, I'll give you like, I don't know. You're gonna make a phone call. I'll give you $2,500 making the phone call. You know?
Yeah. No,
You know?
seriously.
But like, no, they were taking 15% of your whole contract for a year.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing anything else. They weren't like out getting me new deals. They weren't like managing my life. They weren't. It was just that.
They had taken.
And they are getting. I don't want to like say all agents are this, but the agents when I was doing this, that's what they felt like they were doing, and it just didn't feel worth it to me.
Yeah. So you said, no, I'm going to do this myself.
I did it myself.
Sometimes you got to do it yourself then.
And I will say, look, I'm a big believer of a team. Like, if you ask me now, like, I'm trying to build as big of a team as possible around myself. Back then, though, it was a different story because I didn't have money to really be able to do that. Right. So I really had to see a return on doing it.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Especially 15%, depending on what the contract can look like, that's going to add up to a lot of
Hell
money
yeah.
within a year. It's like,
yeah.
do I want to give it? Do I rock with this person? Am I going to give up
Yeah.
X amount of dollars just for them to make that one phone call?
Yeah, and that's before taxes, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You've participated in major skating competitions like X Games, Street League, Dew Tour. How did you like mentally and physically prep yourself going into major events like that? Or even not even, I don't even say just competitions, but knowing like you have a big skate project coming up or a big video coming, like how did you get yourself in the zone that you need to execute this?
Well, so I was not a contest skater. I skated in them. I was not a good contest skater. I didn't like it.
No. What was
No.
it about it you didn't like?
Skating never felt like that to me. Like, it wasn't the reason why I skated. And it's funny because I'm a very, very competitive person.
Yeah.
But it's not what I thought skating was. It's not how I visioned it. So,
Yeah.
to take it into arena and perform on a time frame wasn't skating to me.
Yeah.
So, I just didn't like it. So I never really prepared or planned for that being my skill.
Yeah.
You know, skating a contest is very different than skating the streets.
Yeah, street. I would imagine streets. It's like you versus the rail. You
Yeah,
versus
there's no
like
time, right?
Yeah.
There's no time. It's all about how it looks, and there's so much more beauty in it. Like a contest is like the trick in amount of time, right?
Yeah.
So like I just that wasn't me. So like skating contest was like I'd practice for them, but like I didn't do much to like mentally get there.
Yeah. You just kind of check off the box. I got to do it.
Yeah, I just tell you the truth. It to me it was more about getting my brand out there than winning the contest, right? Because I'm skating in front of 5,000-10,000 people,
Plus
so
plus the viewers.
plus
on.
the viewers.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, dude, this is a great experience, like getting in front of people, you know. But it was like never like my desire was always to do the best I could do. It was never to win, and I had a lot of those. Like I had one contest where like I skated as good as I possibly could. I got 6th place. I was through the roof because I couldn't have done better. Right. Yeah. And if you look at it, like, dude, Nyjah is a better. I will not beat Nyjah in a contest. Right. I will not beat Shane O'Neill in a contest. So it was like I just think I went into it differently.
Yeah.
You know,
that's kind of probably a good mindset to have of just like, you're going to go in and do your best, and however the results play is how it plays.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it all went down to like the fact that I never thought that's what skateboarding was. Right. Like if it was anything else, like I'm coming to win.
Yeah.
Like, and that was the weirdest thing. I still trip on that. Like I am super competitive. Like, I get mad when I don't win. Seriously. Never happened with skating. It was the only thing in my life where, like, I didn't give a shit if I won or lost. It was all about me.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Especially with being such a passion, you would think that would be the one
know.
thing that you're going to be super competitive
I know,
about,
dude.
very protective.
I know. Like, dude, we'll go do something I don't give a shit about, right? Like, we'll go, like, play basketball. Go play in a pickup game. I don't care about basketball. I am fired up if I don't win. It means nothing. It's totally meaningless. Skateboarding, my life, right? My heart, I don't give a shit if I win or lose. It was the weirdest thing.
That's probably a good thing. They probably helped you, like, not get too stressed out throughout the career.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm into golfing now. I know you're
Oh,
like,
yeah, okay.
I'm into golfing now, right? Like, dude, I do not want to lose. Like, when I'm playing with my friends, like, I do not want to lose.
Yeah.
Right? Skating? Whatever.
You got to stick to the fairways and the
You
greens
know,
on that
yeah,
golf course.
yeah,
Stick to the
totally.
fairways and the greens.
Yeah.
2017 was a tough year. I think that was when you lost all of your sponsors
Yes.
overnight.
Yeah.
And I know that was, or at least you've said in previous podcasts, that was probably one of the hardest moments that you've ever dealt with. What was something positive that came from that moment?
Oh, my life now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, what came from it was incredibly positive.
But
It was
at
just
that time,
being in it was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was the worst. It was the, and it's funny, man. I knew this was going to happen. Like that. So take a step back. I found myself in this position that I knew was happening. I knew it was going to happen. Even though I was blindsided by when it actually happened, I knew my career was going to end. Right? We all know that.
What is the average career of a pro skater? Do you know? Is that like 10, 15 years?
7 to 10 years. Yeah. Wow. Mine went 15, which was like way longer than I thought. I mean, dude, originally it was 2 years, right?
Yeah.
I'll skate for 2 years. I'll go back to college. I'll skate for 5. I'll go back to college. Shit, I got 10 years. It's crazy. You know, but it was like being in that moment that like I was faced with like, dude, so much pain and so much like uncertainty. The thing that like I used to motivate myself out of it was knowing that this was going to be a pivotal time in my life.
Yeah.
And that like this could be the thing that defined me to greatness as long as I didn't let it win, right? I just couldn't let it beat me. And I used that as motivation through it. But dude, when I was in it, fuck, it was awful.
Yeah.
It was totally awful.
How long do you think it was from the point of that happening to like you felt like you were waking up ready to go and just much more better?
Gosh, it was probably, so it happened the end of February 17. So very beginning of 17. It wasn't until probably June or July where I was like, okay,
I'm ready. I'm good to go.
I'm getting out of this thing.
Yeah.
Right? It was 6 months of just like, dude, pain and really beyond that, like there was a lot of things I just didn't even know about myself that I discovered through it that like hurt. Right? Like when everything's good, man, you're not challenged to do anything. I was comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? 15 years of a career that just was vertical. Right? It was like, like I dealt with things, but like you don't really find yourself until you're challenged. And this was me being challenged to the fucking bottom.
Yeah.
You know?
What was it that you were finding about yourself though?
Oh God, man. The way that I felt valued and the way I perceived love was through praise. And I was getting that praise through my career of me being this thing. I'm a pro skateboarder.
Yeah.
And all these people that follow me, that I feel love through that because I'm somebody.
Yeah.
Right? And then when that's taken away, I'm not a pro skateboarder. My whole identity is thrown away. It was like, I found myself, like the only thing I could explain it was like, I didn't feel like me. Right? Like I know who I am. And all of a sudden, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Right? And like in the beginning, I didn't know all of this. Like in the beginning, I was just like, dude, I need to get back to me. How do I get back to me? Right?
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I thought like I needed a new company to like fill that purpose. I'm gonna start this company. I'm gonna get back, and I'm gonna be this big guy again. I'm gonna feel like me. Right? That's how it started. And it wasn't until like, dude, 4 or 5 months in where I was like, dude, why do you feel like you need this to be loved? Why don't you feel enough now?
Yeah.
You know, and that was, I mean, a huge blessing moving through it. But like, I didn't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, man. I thought I was like the most like level-headed, real, like felt like I was incredibly humble, had my ego in check.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I was incredibly challenged by that.
And at the time, though, on the side, you had already started, I think, a business too. Was St. Archer?
I started multiple businesses.
Yeah. So you were already kind of on the side, just working on that craft.
Dude, we already sold St. Archer.
At that, was that 2015?
We sold it. Yeah, we sold in 2015.
Damn. Oh, so at least you were kind of.
Yo, like, dude, when this happened, look, like, I'll tell you straight up, man. I didn't spend any time preparing for the emotional side of a career ending. None. All of my preparation was financial. All of it. I was so scared of how I was going to make money after that I put that as like my number one focus on like, if I can get my money right and I can be financially free, no one can hurt me. Fuck a sponsor. I lose a sponsor, who cares? You can't touch me. I get hurt, who cares? You can't touch me. I'm good. I don't need you to make money.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was my like driving force, was trying to give myself control and security outside of my sponsor. And that was done getting my money right. Right? Then my career ends. I'm financially free at this point. Career ends, and it was the most painful thing I have ever experienced. I had no idea it was going to be what it was. It was brutal.
It's like a badge just ripped off.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, you always hear people talk about money, right? Like, dude, money doesn't give you happiness. I knew that. But like, then you hear everybody talk about like, what is your why, right? Whenever you're getting started, people go, what's your why? Like, if it's just getting money, it's not going to be enough. Trust me, right? And you as a kid going, what are you talking about, man? Like, I'm gonna get this money, then I can figure that out.
Yeah,
dude, it's so true, and it's hard to say from this end because I know what it feels like being on the other end. Like, dude, don't even tell me that. But seriously, like, I got to the point where my money was good. And it was the most uncomfortable I've ever been. I was more comfortable making $800 a month broke than I was being a millionaire not knowing who I was.
Wow.
You know?
How, the emotional aspect, I mean, how do you get stronger within that? Because I think that is such a strong part of maybe why people don't start certain things, or just are scared. Like, how do you emotionally get stronger for yourself?
Dude, I spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
I that's probably what I spend the most time on every day is building myself up to survive in difficult situations, right? And look, this is done, like I could tell you all like the things I do, the morning routines, the speaking to myself a certain way, meditation, whatever it is, right? But for me, like really when you take like it all to the core, it all comes down to faith for me. It really does. Like I have a belief. I believe in God. I believe I have a purpose, right? And knowing that He has a purpose for me really helps me maneuver through these difficult times, knowing that He's grooming me to be something great through this, right? And so I think it's different for other people. That doesn't have to be like for you, but for me, that is by far the driving force through all of this.
Kind of goes back to what we started the conversation of, just knowing the long play, right?
Yeah.
Just all this is gonna work itself out. These, even the little moments of the day-to-day, I find myself just like laughing just at myself, just like, it's gonna be fine. Everything is gonna be just all right. The bills will get paid somehow. You're gonna find a way to turn this into the next thing that you wanted to. But it's that mentality of almost like tricking yourself. Not even trick yourself. I think it's just the positive affirmations of like, you can do this. You have the ability to be great. It's honestly, a matter of time.
Honestly, I think it is tricking yourself. Straight up.
Yeah.
I think we're built to doubt ourselves, right? Like it's very natural for us to think we can't do things. We don't like being uncomfortable. We try to put ourselves in positions of safety, right? Which don't mean growth, right? We're very negative by nature. So like, dude, I trick myself all the time. Like half the shit I tell myself, my first thought is like, dude, you're lying to yourself. Seriously. I just don't stop telling myself till eventually I believe it. It's like what they say, right? Tell yourself a lie enough times, you believe it. I'm doing that based on positivity. I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. Soon enough, you think you could do it. The crazy part is if you think you could do it, you can do it, right? So like, dude, I'm with you. I believe that, man. This is a whole game of lying to yourself until you believe.
And then I think people believe in you because they're like, damn, this guy believes in himself.
Straight up,
He's
dude.
so confident in himself.
The power of the mind, man, is like unlike anything else.
Yeah. I think I've realized that in the last 2-ish plus years from meditating, just like the day-to-day, and then not getting so stressed out about the little things, or sitting in traffic. Normally I'd be like, what the hell, I'm in traffic. Chill, relax. Life could be worse. Put on a podcast, call somebody. Like, how can you take this time that you think is so bad and then redirect that energy? But the mind, man, it is strong. It is so strong, and it blows my mind. Just like when you can, almost like when you can personally train it and you can coach it, things happen in your life. The things that you really want to come to your life, or do you want to change about your life, you can do it. It's just a matter of consistency, the patience game, all the cliches you hear. It's like, man, all that shit is true. It's all true. It's all true. Man, I got so much for you. What if anything, actually, let's go into the entrepreneur stuff, because we've talked enough about skating. You sold St. Archer Brewing Company. You've had Sovrn Skateboard, Avni Intelligence, which is pretty much like a digital agency. What have you found to be the key ingredients to taking an idea from zero to creating a sustainable and profitable business?
Challenging.
I know there's a lot. I know there is.
Oh man. For me, I think like the key element to all of it is a team. For me, like I've now learned what I'm good at, what I'm really bad at, right? And I don't try to be good at the things I'm bad at. I try to surround myself with the people that are good at the things I'm not good at. And really, the things I'm not good at are the things I don't like. I don't want to spend my time doing that. But there's other people that do like doing that. So like for me, everything I do is putting a team around me so that I have the best chance to succeed at it. And we could get into maybe the gritty, like how to bring a idea to reality. That is like, that part's easier, I think. It's, a lot of it is just is narrowing down the idea, right? Like when you start something, like every time I've ever started something, I thought it was this thing, and by the time I launched, it was like somewhere out here, right? So like there's a process that goes into you fine tuning what it actually becomes. And like as much as I hate like the idea of having to do business plans are like one of the most important things to do, because it makes you consolidate not only your ideas but what your projections and plans for this thing actually are. And then it gives you a much more like kind of like it gives you an actual plan to then launch it, right? But like I would say like on a broad scale, the things I've learned is it never goes the way you want. It always takes longer and always costs more money. So always prepare for that. It's going to take you longer. If you have a point of breaking even and you're breaking even at year 2, make it year 3. Yeah. Right? If you think you're going to do $500,000 the first year, make it $200,000. Seriously. Wow. That I think is a big key now to planning and hopefully having a company that succeeds is lowering your expectations, because nothing goes according to plan. But then, and you get in those situations where they do go better than planned, it's a good problem to solve. Yeah. The bad problem to solve is when you think you're going to do something and you do half of that.
You project $1 million and you do 200.
You do not want that.
No.
You know?
But at least having that plan, it gives you some type of structure as to what are we working towards.
Yeah, business plans are great, dude. Yeah. And the first business I did, I remember like Randy, who was the guy I had doing my money and business. The first idea we had, he was like, you should do a business plan. I remember like being so annoyed by that. Like a business plan? Like, why am I going to spend time and energy on something that doesn't even really matter at launching my idea? Right? It's not getting the product. It's not design. It's a business plan. Yeah. And then like after I did like the second or third one, I was like, I'll never do a company without business plan now. Randy, even if I'm not raising money, like raising money, you absolutely need that. Yeah. But like, even if it's just something I want to do with like my wife or like a friend, we're doing a business plan.
Randy, you taught me a valuable
lesson. Randy's taught me a lot, man. He's taught me a lot.
What I know you just mentioned, like you'll bring in people on the team when there's certain things that you don't like doing. But what is the most enjoyable part for you within business?
That's a great question. I'm like you, a people person. Yeah. Right. I like being in
front
of people.
That's all I want.
Yeah. I like the vision. I like the grand side. The like. Kind of like, okay, let's see where we could take this thing. And I like driving it forward. I don't like the putting together the vehicle to make it go forward, right? Yeah. So like from like an operations standpoint, I don't like that. I don't like all the details. I don't want to like work on all these numbers. I want to like create the vision and drive the vision forward. I like building the brand side of it. Yeah. I guess like I like marketing and sales. I don't like the operations.
Yeah, I'm not operations. I'm not accounting. You want to be out there front center with people. Yeah. That's where, and I think that is the most important thing, is that there's so much more opportunities that come from you understanding and being aware of what you like. And then, like you're saying, I'm going to bring in somebody to do operations or somebody to do accounting.
So you ready for this one, dude? For anybody listening?
Please.
So once you know who you are, right, or what you're good at, you need to be careful that you don't bring other people in like you, right? And what I mean by that is like you and I, right? Like I could go hang out with you. We're very similar in the way of like having fun and talking, and we're outgoing. You and I would not be good business partners because your skill set is very similar to my skill set, right? The goal is to surround yourself with people that are good at what you're not good at, right? So typically, and this isn't always the case, but a lot of the people that are into the financial side of it, the operations, they're not extroverts. Right? They're analytical. They're introvert. That's different than us, right? So like, make sure you're not putting together a team of homies. You know,
then that's gonna be a bigger problem.
Yeah, like you do want to have synergy when you work, but like when you're building a team, like you need to look at what their skill set is, not like, are you guys gonna be like homies?
Yeah. Have you found that a lot of people that you do bring onto your team, are they like mutual friends of friends, or are you doing like the put out a job application and then we'll inbound people?
Yes and no. Like the idea of mutual friends is cool, but there's a challenge with that as well. If you ever get to a position where you have to let them go, it's uncomfortable, right? Because now you're affecting the person who connected you. Same thing with hiring friends. Hiring friends can be hard as well. Working with friends can be really hard. So for me, like I like being recommended to people, or if we're like reaching out to somebody or somebody's putting an application, let's say, and I know somebody that's worked with them, I like that. Sometimes like homies though is scary. Yeah. You know?
Because then it ruins the relate. I feel like it could pop.
Well, it's just hard, right? Yeah. It's like, dude, working with people is hard. right? Like having things that need to get done is hard.
Yeah.
And so there's a point where like you have to be challenging people. And sometimes when you're friends, it's hard to have that boundary.
Yeah.
Right? So it could be challenging. I'm not saying it can't be done. And if it can be done, that's the best case scenario for sure.
Yeah.
Like if you could be bros and work great together, there's nothing better than that. I just think it's harder to find it.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. And I think if you can find it, it's like great. But if not, then I don't know. I just try to make sure that anybody that I bring into my team or that I'm surrounded by with is on the same page as me.
That's 100%, right? You have to be like with your team. You all have to be connected on what the vision is and what you guys are going out to do. If you have somebody who's like doesn't see the vision, they shouldn't be around you.
Yeah. Right.
And you need people that are gonna challenge you and make you better, right? Yeah. But it's hard. I should say this. It's hard to be bros first and employees second, or work together second. It's better to work together and then have a relationship form and then become bros. Let's leave it there.
I like that.
Because I work with people now that like I've become really close with from working with them.
But it started as a business relationship, and then that followed second, and that's the order that you would want it to go in.
Yeah.
You've going back to kind of like you're a big people's person. I've seen you on plenty of podcasts in the past. I know you've done the Avni interviews previously as well. Has there been one conversation that you've had in the past that stands out the most? I'm not saying a favorite podcast. I'm not saying a favorite interview that you've done or you've been on, but is there one that kind of always jumps to your mind when you think about podcasting that you've been on?
What a good question. I would say I really like dramas. Actually, the interview I did with Drama, I really liked.
That's a year ago right now.
Yeah.
It's about a year ago.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. But it fired me up because I had heard it when it came out, and then when I was doing some research, I came across it again. I was like, it was May 2018.
Drama was one that like I got a lot of people that reached out that conversation really resonated with them.
Yeah.
Which was cool because that was early on me doing these. Like podcasts now are like really normal part of my life, but like that was when it all really kind of started.
Yeah.
And so like, I think like going into conversations about something way different than what my past was.
Yeah.
And being open about it was like, you don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And like, that was one of those ones where I was just like, hey, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And it was good. Like that was a really good conversation.
Can you talk about how important it is to go out of your way to show support to people? Because I think that podcast happened because you had reached out to him just to show love, right?
Yeah.
It was a phone call, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I just need to call this guy up, say I really rock with what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then ends up turning out to be you getting on the podcast. So can you talk about like how important it is to just kind of put out that good energy to the world, and how knowing that at some point maybe it does come back to you?
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, being selfless is a lot better than being selfish, right?
Yeah.
And like genuinely just like being there for people, I think creates so much more opportunity of like something great happening, not even on a business standpoint, through your relationship, through other people. Like putting out that type of energy and like support for people only increases growth, right? And that was like a perfect example. It's like I had been friends with Drama. I hadn't talked to him in a while. I was listening to his podcast and I was like, I was enjoying it, right? And I'm sitting there like I remember thinking to myself, I know exactly where I was going. I was driving to go play golf, right? And I was like listening to his podcast and I was like, God, Drama, I'm so like, I was like proud of him. I was like, dude, you this is awesome. Like I see you, right? And I thought to myself, God, I should tell him that. And I just kept driving, right? And then I was like, I should really tell him that. And I just made myself. I'm like, dude, if I thought like I should tell him that, why don't I just call him and tell him that? So I just called him.
Right on the spot.
Called him on the spot. I'm like, yo, Drama, what's up, dude? He's like, what's up? And I was like, hey, I just want to call and tell you, like, this is what just happened. Like, I was listening to your podcast and like, I really enjoy it and just thought I should tell you.
Wow.
And so like, that was just like, that kind of like sparked our relationship again to where like now, like, dude, we're bros. Like we hang out all the time.
Yeah.
Our relationship now is so different than what it was prior to that phone call.
Wow.
And who knows if it wouldn't have been if I wouldn't have just thought to myself, like, dude, just call him and tell him that.
Wow. Did you originally meet him through Fantasy Factory?
I met him through Rob.
Through Rob. Because with DC, is that how you connected with him?
Yeah, so Rob turned me pro.
Rob was
Yeah,
the one.
Rob was one of the first pros I ever met.
How, and when you say he turned me pro, what does that mean?
I met Chris way before Fantasy Factory, way before drama. I met him and Scott when they were just Derek's cousins from Ohio. I've known them
sleeping
a
on the
long,
couch,
long time.
like at
oh
his,
yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah. I met him back in Ohio for the first time. Yeah, I've known them a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when you say Rob was the one that turned me pro, when you say turn me pro, what
So
does
I
that mean?
rode for his company. His company was Seek, and when you officially turn pro, it's when your board sponsor decides to sell your board with your name on it.
Wow.
So Rob turned me pro. My first pro model was a Seek, which is his company. So yeah, he turned me pro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rob's been a big influence in my life.
Yeah. What do you think's been the biggest lesson you've learned from him? Even if it's from watching him from afar.
Oh man, probably the fact that if you can think it, you can do it. You know, like he has like manifested like this reality, like he absolutely has, right? And so like, dude, and I've seen it. Like I saw it from like when he told me the idea of Street League 5 years before it became Street League. But I remember him telling me about the TV show way before it was a TV show. Like he's like proof that like if you can just think of an idea and you're willing to go create it, you can be it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
He's a savage.
Yeah,
he's
he
a
is.
savage.
Yeah.
I've heard him on I think he was on Lewis Howe's podcast probably a year or two ago. But yeah, just listening and seeing his energy. I love his energy. Just seeing him on TV, just that bubbly, high energy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. You know, you bought your first house at 22. You're the president of Commune. Is it Commune Capital?
Commune Capital.
Commune. I'm terrible at pronunciation.
All good.
Which is a real estate investment company. What do you think has been like the hardest lesson you've learned from real estate? I think it's important too that you invested at 22 and buy your first house. That's amazing. But what do you think is the hardest lesson you've learned?
Oh man. So one of the hardest lessons I learned in real estate was way before Commune Capital. This was with my house. And that house, so I bought that house in 2005. 2007, 2008 is when shit got real. Right?
Where was the house, by the way?
Newbury Park.
Okay, perfect.
And so I buy this house. I buy it for $575. Right? I'm 22 years old.
Amazing.
2007 comes around, and Randy, who's financial planner, business manager, mentor, Randy goes, "Hey, dude, you should sell your house." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "You should sell your house and rent. Go rent an apartment." And I'm like, "Rent? What are you talking about?" He's no, seriously. Like and I didn't know any of this. We're at the height of a market. I don't think this house is going to stay where it's at. Sell it. You have money now. I would have made $150,000, right? If I would have sold it. And I'd been there 2 years, no capital gains on it. He's like, "Sell it and go live in an apartment." And my dumbass goes, "I'm not telling my friends that I'm selling my house and going to rent an apartment. What are they going to think of me?" Right? So what happens? 2008 hits. My house was valued at $700,000. It's now worth $400,000, right? I bought it for $575.
Yeah.
And I could have made money if I wasn't worried about like the expectations or the perception that my friends had on me, right? And that all came to that realization later when I went through that whole 2017 thing. Like I let too many people's idea of me control my own view of myself.
Yeah.
Right? And that was a perfect example. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, really, I'm not going to sell my house because I'm worried about what my friends think? So really, that happened. The other thing is, like, when I grew up, I thought real estate was impossible to... I thought real estate was forever and always safe. Right? Like if you buy a home, that's the best investment you're ever going to have.
You're good.
Right? But I didn't understand the whole of real estate. I just thought owning a home was real estate. I didn't know there was a difference between a home, an apartment, an industrial, storage, mobile home. I just thought it was all real estate and all acted the same. Right? So like when I grew up, I just thought, dude, if I own my house, that's the best investment I'm ever going to have. Right? As I got older, I realized that that's not really the case.
Yeah. Right?
Homes, I'm not a big component of homes. I don't really care to own a home. I wouldn't own a rental home. I like, there's a lot of other classes inside of real estate that I would way rather participate in.
What's the one you have in Long Beach right now? Is that apartments?
That's apartment, multifamily.
So why do that versus just a home?
So there's a handful of reasons. For me, what I like, a home, like for example, the house I live in, right? I can sell my house based on what the person next to me sold the same house for, right? A comp, right? So if a house that's the same house as mine sold for 700 grand, I could sell my house for somewhere around 700 grand, right? Apartments are different. If I have a 10-unit apartment right next door to an identical 10-unit apartment, same square footage, everything, this one could be worth $2 million and this one could be worth 10. It wouldn't be that way. This is going to be a 2, this one going to be a 3.5, right? And it's because apartments work more like business than they do homes, right? So everything comes down to how efficient your apartment is. So like business, you have your gross income, right? So in apartments, that's done through rent or kind of services that you offer. All the money that comes in is your gross, right?
Yep.
Then you have your expenses, everything it costs to operate your building, and then you're left with your net operating income, right? The more net operating income you have, the more your company's valued or the more your apartment's valued. So it gives you way more control to when you're buying an apartment. For us, we go, okay, how can we raise our gross income and how can we lower our expenses? One, the other, or both. Because in turn, that's going to increase our net, which is going to increase our value, right? So on a very simple kind of example, if you buy an apartment and your units are renting for $1,000 a month, right? And if you can take that $1,000 a month and increase it to $2,000 a month, so you're doubling your rents, you're in turn doubling the value of your building.
I see what you're saying.
Right? So if you bought the building for $2 million, you double the rents here, your building's now worth $4 million. Right? So there's so much more control in driving appreciation yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I like that.
Yeah.
The other thing, when you have a house and you lose a tenant, you're 100% vacant.
Out. You're out.
Right? In an apartment, it's all economy of scale.
It's all percentage.
Yeah.
You have 10 units.
Exactly. And that's a natural thing, right? Vacancy or turnover happens. Wow. So I like that there's a percentage of vacancy inside my apartment that doesn't bring me down to zero.
Yeah.
You know?
What now for somebody that's in there, maybe in their 20s, like what would be the best first investment, do you think?
That's a great question. There's a couple ways to do it. I really like the idea of house hacking. Have you heard of house hacking?
No.
So what a lot of people do is they'll buy like a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, right?
Oh, I know.
So you have 4 units now.
Okay.
And what you're trying to do is not pay rent. Okay. So you're going to have your unit, you're going to rent your other 3 units out, and now you're not paying anything for rent.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right. And what they do now, you can argue both sides of this, but just for the sake of the argument, so anything under 5 units is residential. Anything over 5 units is commercial. So it's a different type of loan.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're getting a 4 unit, it's the same type of loan that you would get for a home. So one of the cool things is there's a government program, an FHA loan, that will help somebody get into a 4-plex off less down. So you can put 3.5% down, right? So you put 3.5% down, and you're also able to use the other 3 units rent to add on to your basically income to qualify for the building.
Wow.
Right? So you're putting less down, you're getting into a building that could potentially make it so you have no rent.
And this is called house hacking?
House hacking.
House hacking.
Yeah, but you could do it even with a home. A lot of people, like what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah.
You buy the home.
Yeah.
You rent the other 4 bedrooms out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you don't have to pay for rent because you're paying a premium on those 4 units that cover your rent.
And you're the one that's holding the ownership of the actual house, but they're all helping you pay the rent.
Yep. So that's a way to do it. That's house hacking. If you're the challenge is for like a 20-year-old or 21-year-old, right? There's 2 ways to invest. You can invest actively or passively, right? Passively would be you're just putting your money into it and your money's to work and you're not doing anything, right? Like when I was skating, I was investing in these things passively. I was skating. My job was skating. My passion was skating. I just needed my money to work. So I wasn't like at the building. I wasn't finding the buildings, nothing. Just my money was working.
Wow.
Actively would be you doing the work, right? So it's hard for like a 20 or 21-year-old to sometimes invest passively because they don't have enough money yet, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in a situation where you have a ton of money at that age, dude, yeah, I like multifamily. That's what I really like. If you don't have a lot of money yet, there's a lot of ways for you to get into real estate where real estate investing almost becomes your job, right? There's like syndications. Like, So you don't necessarily need money to own a building, but you're not going to own it outright. You're going to bring on investors, and you're going to do all the work that those guys don't want to do.
Yeah.
And they're going to give you equity in doing it because they're just trying to get their money to work.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you get their money to work, and then you take all the lessons you learn, you start making your own money, then you go out and you do it on your own.
Yes, that's exactly how you should think of it. But the thing is, and look, yes. Okay, yes. First
it's tough
off,
in California, though, with
First
everything.
off, yes. No, this is the thing. First off, yes. The thing is, I think that apartments, I think it's a team sport.
Gotcha.
I think if I'm investing with my own money always, I can only grow as far as my money can go. I'm always going to get to a point where there's a deal and I don't have enough money to do it.
Yep.
So I like the idea of crowdfunding or bringing people together to grow as big as you want. So there's no right or wrong. Where I'm at, though, like, I don't want to go like get a 20 unit and then like
it falls
2 years from now get another 20 unit. I want to go get like 500,000 units.
Yeah, and it's better to spread your money out and have 10 different units.
I think so too.
A percentage, and then that way your odds are higher than just banking on that one.
Yeah.
That really was a question coming from me because when the time's right and I can get my hand, I know that's where I'm putting my money on real estate, because I know and see people that they're making their monty work for them. Yeah. And I would imagine too now that's like, it sounds like a passion.
I love it now.
Yeah.
You know what? Yes, it is a passion, but it's a passion because it's so much more than just real estate for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like this whole thing was birthed off me trying to solve a problem in our world.
Yeah.
Right? And really, like, when my career ended, there's not that many skaters or even athletes in general that like kind of come out of their career okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like most people end up working for the company that sponsor them, become a team manager. Like and not saying there's anything wrong with those jobs, but you see them like on like an upward trajectory and then kind of going down in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And so like I don't like that. I didn't want to see like these kids like who are given like fame and money and like, you know, this like great opportunity, and then like once their career's over, there's no one like helping them plan for that.
Yeah.
Right? So like I started this thing to try to help athletes prepare for the future.
Yeah.
So like when their career ends, it's maybe like more like mine than like having to add the financial part of it. Like, dude, for everything I dealt with, if I had to figure out how to go make $1 the next day, who knows? That would have been awful.
Yeah.
Right.
So are you finding a lot of people that you're bringing in are people that are skating right now, professional skaters?
Yeah. So basically that's how, so it's funny, man. That's how it started. When I first did it, we had probably about 10 pro skateboarders who were our investors. Now I think we're getting close to like 45 investors, maybe close to 50.
Wow.
And it's an eclectic group now. It's lawyers, CFOs, entrepreneurs, sales guys, athletes, football players. Yeah.
What a time, man.
Yeah. So it's definitely resonated beyond athletes. I think at the end of the day, what we all have in common is we don't want to have to work. We want to choose to work.
Yeah.
Right. So whether you're an athlete, you're in sales, you're doing a podcast, we all want to just do this because we want to do it. And you can't really do that until you're financially free. Yeah. So that's why I started the company. So a lot of my passion is like trying to like help them, like help athletes, help people. And a big thing is now educating them. Right? Like a lot of people aren't taught financial literacy. Not everyone has a Randy that takes you at 22 and goes, hey, dude, you need to live below your means. Yeah. Your lifestyle right now can't go up as you make more money. You need to stay on that. You need to put your money to work. Like, dude, I was blessed to have that. Most people don't have that, right? And school definitely didn't teach me that. So now it's like a big part of like my passion and why this is all so important for me is like I want people to know this. Yeah. I want people to plan. I want people to like actually have a strategy to become financially free, right? Yeah. It's like when I was a kid, all I thought financially free was having $1 million. If you got $1 million, you're good. That's what I thought. That is the furthest thing from reality. That is not what it means.
Not in California. You can't get away with $1 million.
But not anywhere. That's the thing. $1 million is just $1 million, right? That's not financial freedom. Financial freedom is actually much simpler than that. And for anyone who doesn't know, this was the eye-opening experience for me, right? When you are investing in things that give you passive income, right? That means you're making money and not working for it. The second that number is greater than your expenses, you're financially free, right? It's that simple. So I spend $8,000 a month. I've got $10,000 a month coming in on passive income. You're financially free. right? Take away like the gains, but let's say net of gains, you're financially free. So it's like, that's it. So the whole goal is, what can I invest into to build my passive income so it outweighs my expenses? Right?
That's literally like the dream.
That's the dream, but it's a reality. I think that's the like disservice that like people have is they don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
That is possible. It absolutely is possible.
As president of the company, what does your role look like? Are you working more on the investor side? Are you dealing with more of like looking for the properties? What does that president role look like?
Good question. Right now, what I'm spending a lot of time on is fundraising, raising money for our fund.
Bringing more investors,
in, and then basically I'm overseeing and a lot of times creating everything visual that the company is. So anything we do from brand videos, our social media, marketing decks, marketing material, it's right now coming from me.
It's the fun stuff. This is what we were just talking about before. You want to be in the front and center, the marketing.
Yeah, I like it. I like marketing. I like marketing. I like sales. I'm basically overseeing all the marketing and I'm raising the money, which is pretty much sales. So it's a cool thing right now. As far as like looking for properties go, I'm involved in it, but I'm not out here every day trying to find a property.
Yeah.
My big focus is raising the money, and then if we get in a position where we have capital to deploy and we don't have a property,
then worry about that.
Yeah.
Why look for property if you don't even have the money right now to go out there and purchase?
Yeah, exactly. And right now we have a property that we're raising money for. So we own the property. We're raising money for the construction side. So really, I'm not really going to look for a new property until we finish this raise.
Yeah. You don't want to get too much clogged up in your head.
No.
Is there anything, obviously you have, that's probably taking up a lot of your time now, but is there anything inside you itching that you'd want to start or get into at some point, maybe down the line when it makes more sense? Or you solely just going to keep with the real estate and keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something I don't know when. Don't know when, but I think at some point in my life I'll probably try and do something like with this, like a school or something. I don't know what it looks like. It's very grand. It's very kind of down the road, but I will say this, and if anyone wants to do this, I just want to fix the problem, right? We have a school system that's irrelevant, right? I think from middle school, high school, and college, unless you're going out to be a doctor or a lawyer or something where you are actually going to school for that trait. Other than that, I don't think school works. I really don't. So what I want to do is almost like create like a true private school, right? That trains these kids how to be successful so that, if you go to this school, you're going to have every single tool to become successful after you're done with that school in every aspect of life. Financial, business, relationships, community. I want to almost create like I want somebody who comes out of this thing to have basically them be able to reach their full potential by going here.
Yeah.
Right? Where there's no like government assisted, there's no like ulterior motive. The whole goal is to create like superstars.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is, it's right now I have something that I'm trying to tackle first.
Yeah.
Trying to take on something like that is
massive. It's
massive, and like I want to fix this problem first, right? Yeah. Once I get to a point where like I feel like athletes are them going bankrupt isn't 75% anymore. Like if we can get the 75% to 30%, okay, maybe it's time to go into the school. But right now it's like, dude, there's a massive problem there. Like you're talking about 75% of athletes go bankrupt in 5 years. That is a massive problem.
With the amount of money too.
And that's the thing. A lot of these guys have enough money to not have to be in that position. Right? It's just there's no one's educating them, no one's guiding them. So until that happens, then the school's on hold.
I'd be curious to see what LeBron James' school looks like.
Dude, I think that's amazing. I think LeBron is like
more than an athlete.
He really is.
Everything you were talking about earlier, I'm like more than an athlete. LeBron James.
He really is. He totally is.
Yeah, I would be very curious to see what that education system looks like at that school because I know it's doing well. I just don't know exactly what is separating that school system from the other ones in Ohio.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't know if like we have to go to a certain type of school legally to get all the qualifications that you graduated the American system, right? and I imagine that LeBron's has to fall in line with that system.
Yeah.
Right. What I'm talking about is it's not going to be that system.
Yeah.
That system doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't even think it would work right now with like, because if you don't take your kid to the right school, like your child services are coming to get you.
Yeah.
Right. So there's not a time for it yet, but
you're doing something right now with just spreading the knowledge through doing podcasts and
yeah.
and
Look,
sharing
like,
your
dude, if this like sparks an idea for anybody, go please do this.
Yeah.
Like, I'll come back around 10 years from now. I'll come help.
But it's cool though. You are paying, like you are in a sense like educating people and teaching people, because there's going to be somebody that listens to this that there's a lesson or something that inspires them, or that to me is what I love about podcasting. It's like, it's awesome I get to have a great conversation with the guests, but then also I know it's valuable to somebody out there that's going to listen to something, that's going to get inspired, that maybe there's somebody in the middle of the country that doesn't have somebody to have these conversations with, so to me it sounds like you're already kind of doing that just by getting out there and doing all these different podcasts.
Yeah, I try to use my platform for that more than anything now.
Yeah. Just talk through the experiences, share your wisdom.
Yeah, like if anybody, like even like, dude, if anyone listening to this, dude, like, look, you can become financially free. You totally can. Apartments, I think, are one of the greatest ways to do it. Hit me up. You want to know about apartments, dude? I'll send you everything you need to know about apartments.
You're gonna be hearing from me soon enough, because I know that the real estate is definitely the way to go. It's just a matter of putting together the right funds and getting into it.
That's exactly right.
What do you think has been the biggest realization you've made since becoming a father? You have 2 daughters, I believe, right?
Oh yeah.
What's been the biggest realization?
Oh man, the biggest realization is that I was and still struggle with being incredibly selfish.
The balancing, I feel like it's got to be tough, because now it's like you're not just waking up worrying about yourself anymore. You have 2 little ones.
Dude, it is. Talk about like a struggle, dude. It's,
2 daughters too?
Yeah. This is, there was an experience I had when we had kids where like, everything was about me. Even like I was married and it was all about me, right? You have a kid and you're like, holy crap, like all I think about is me. I need to think about you. Like my job is to like make sure you grow up to be like independent and successful and like, something great.
Yeah.
So there's a whole new type of responsibility in that, right? The biggest struggle for me has been, this is the first time I've had to start a company and have kids, right? So like everything prior to this was like, I could do it whenever I wanted to. Like I could outwork everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I was with skating. Like I would just skate more than everyone. I would film more tricks than everybody. I can't do that anymore. I cannot compete with you on time. Right. I have to, I'll tell you all, I have to be asleep before 11. Right. 10 is my window. 10 to 10:30. Right. And I'm up at 5:30. I have to be up at 5:30. Anything shorter than that, and I do not function at the same rate for the rest of the day. Yeah. Right? So really there's been a new type of balance with like having to make sure I'm here with the kids. How do I get this much done in a smaller time frame?
Yeah.
So I've had to learn how to become more efficient with my time.
Yeah.
But really it's I think more than anything, it's been learning how to turn it off when I'm with the kids.
Yeah. So do you turn it off like weekends? Is it certain days of the week? Is it certain hours? Like when do you say enough is enough?
Yeah. So Sundays are completely turned off.
Yeah.
When I get home, I try to turn it off right when I get home, but it's pretty much once we have dinner, it's turned off. Until they go to sleep, but a lot of times I end up falling asleep with them. So I get most of my work done in the mornings. They get up at 7, so I have an hour and a half before they get up, where it's kind of for me. Yeah. And then when they're at school, is my work gets done conventionally now. It's not 9 to 5, but it's pretty damn close.
Yeah. We're still working around the clock, but that definitely has to be just a shift of. Yeah.
It's different, man. It's different. Like I used to, like, dude, normally, like if I had no kids, man, like, dude, I'd be working at night. Like, I like working at night.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I'm exhausted. Like, dude, think like it's hard enough running a business, right? You know this. It's hard enough doing this. Yeah. Being a dad and being a mom is another business. So it's like having 2 businesses at the same time. It's exhausting. You know this, right? You're working at night. You're doing this in the day. It's exhausting. So you're like. Dude.
I could not even throw a kid in the mix.
Yeah,
I'd have to throw in the towel on something.
It's tough, dude.
But at the same time, I'm sure it's
tough,
just
but it's rewarding. It's
Yeah.
incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
You know?
It's gotta be, yeah. Oh, I'm sure at the time now that it's a good time in your life. Maybe if you were in your 20s, it'd be a different conversation when you're trying to figure everything out. But
It'd be brutal.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 25 right now, so
It'd be brutal.
we're gonna get there one day.
Yeah.
Little Hobart's gonna be running around at some point.
Yeah.
If you had to call and thank one person today, who would it be?
Randy.
I was gonna say it can't be Randy. We talked about Randy too
I'll
much.
give you somebody else, but he was a massive one for me.
He's the one, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, dude, really, like, he was probably one of the most influential people in my life.
Yeah.
Right? And without that, like, dude, I would have been just like everyone else. Spend every dollar I had.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know?
You drove your Honda for 10 years, I think it was?
Yeah. I sold it when I was 30.
Dude, that's the same Honda?
Yeah, 94 Civic hatchback. Yeah, not the same one. I had multiple of them.
Okay.
But I never had a car payment.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Other people might be out there buying Rolls Royces, BMWs.
My friends have nice cars, dog. My friends have really nice cars. So he was a big one. Other than him, if I had to thank anybody besides him, man, probably maybe Heath Brinkley. He was one of those guys that, like, he brought me on to what my first real sponsor was that, like, promoted me. And then he brought me on to this company, Etnies. And he's been a friend of mine, but he really played a lot into my coming up. You know, he'd be a good one. But Randy's a big one.
Randy's gonna be the one.
Yeah, I just work with him, and I'm partners with him now.
Oh, that's
He's
amazing.
my partner in Commune.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's like,
so he's still very involved.
oh, I talk to him all the time. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. See how full circles? It's crazy how that kind of happens.
Well, yeah, you've seen our logo, right?
No. Well, yeah. Why? What's the relationship of it?
Full circle. It's a circle.
Oh, I didn't.
Two pieces coming
Oh,
in.
I see. Yeah.
All of us coming together.
Oh, I
full
like
circle.
it. I like it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense with the title of it now too.
Yep.
Damn, that's amazing.
Yep, community. We're all in this together. It's
That's
basically
amazing.
Commune. Really, like, the story of it represents, like, my view on what I want my ultimate life to be.
Just embodiment of good
All of us.
Yeah.
It's like how I was with skating.
Yeah.
I wanted all of us to win.
Yeah,
I want all of us to win. I don't want to be the one guy. I want us all to win together.
Yeah.
It's community.
Yeah. That's true. What do you think Mikey Taylor's purpose is?
Such a good question. Right now, what I think my purpose is right now is to. God, that's such a deep question. I'm trying to think how deep I should take this.
Take it wherever you want. My man.
I'll say this. A month ago, I was pretty convinced that my purpose was to help the generations to come be as successful and have as many tools as possible for them to win. That's what I thought my goal was, or my purpose was, a month ago. Now, there's a lot going on right now, I think, with, like, I mean, just our world, actually beyond skating. I think, like, this generation, like, there's so, like, we always talk about divide, right? Like, you look at, like, our nation, our world, right? It seems pretty fucked up to me.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're in such a, like, I think, pivotal time to see where we're going to go with this. And I feel like I'm, like, in this middle of these two generations, right? I'm like middle child almost, right? Like, I'm technically a millennial, but, like, I grew up, like, as a child of the baby boomers. So, like, I'm like on both circuits almost, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I almost feel like my purpose is going to be, like, this gateway to, like, bridge the gap to, like, create, like, unity between all of us, where it's not like us against you, like the divide they talk about. Like, dude, this is insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, not to get, like, political, like, that's not where I want to take it, but like, it does not feel like community to me. Like, it feels like every man for themselves right now. You only hang out with your kind. It seems so backwards to, like, what it used to feel like to me, right? So it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wondering if, like, my purpose ends up becoming, like, a voice to, like, help bridge the gap to, like, where we're at. I don't know. That's like the last month I've been just, like, I think heavy on my heart that, like, maybe that's
it is
my mission, dude.
It's tough. I'm reading a book right now called The Rational Optimist, and it talks about kind of like, even though we may think we are going through the toughest of times, look back at the world we used to live in, and we've only continued to make forward moves, and just reminding it. I'm not disagreeing with you, because I completely agree. I think I'm not even into politics, but just kind of.
I'm not even into politics either, but I know that like you talking about like division. I guess it just leans toward politics, but it's not even a political thing. I just think it's like, I don't know, man. Like,
it's scary.
It totally is. Yeah. Like, you know what? Let's say this. I think really if we hone this thing down, we business plan this thing, right? Yeah. We narrow in our narrative.
Mikey Taylor for president,
right? Seriously, I wouldn't. I'm never gonna. I will. Political life is not for me. Like everything that I want to do with Commune, right? Of like us all being together, us all succeeding. I think my purpose is making that broader and broader so that it becomes all. How can we all win? How can we all be in this together? How can it like truly be like unity? Yeah. You know? Yeah. I'm just starting in real estate with primarily athletes.
That's fine. you got to start somewhere. Then you'll build a school. Then you'll run for president. And
I don't want nothing to do with that.
I know.
I don't think I'm smart enough to be a president.
I don't even know how you even gauge somebody's intelligence for that. I couldn't do it. Yeah. I wouldn't want the grade.
You know what it is? I should say I don't know enough about politics.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about like our.
I don't know enough about our history. Really.
Yeah, me neither. I don't like really like history was tough for me in school. Yeah. Like, I did not like it.
Yeah. You know, I don't even know when
How was the Mikey interview? We talked about like skateboarding, business, and political. He's gonna be a fucking president.
It went great. That's why I love podcasts. It's like, man, I'll write out a script of questions, but like you never know where it's gonna go. And it's usually the second half of the podcast when it's like warmed up that it just goes all over the place, totally. and I totally love it. Before we get into the closing questions, this is when I reverse the role. I allow the guests to ask me any one question. Could be about something we talked about today or something you want to know about me. 2 rules. 1, it can't be a question that I asked you today. And 2, it can't directly be about the podcast.
That's fine. Mm-hmm. All right, dude. So you taking let's say more of the conventional path, high school, college. Yeah. Now you're out on your own.
Yep.
And this is more because I'm really curious.
Please.
What skills did you learn from school that apply now? And now knowing what you know, would you have still gone the path you did?
So what skills like in college did I learn that I still apply today?
Yeah, like what do you look back in college and go, dude, thank God for this. I learned all these things, and that is the reason and one of the biggest things of why I'm able to do what I'm doing now.
I'm going to be honest with you. If there's Oh man, that's a tough question because I don't see myself like saying that, which is scary. And I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. Don't be mad. I think with college, I think if there's anything, it's more of just like looking back at the competitiveness of the school that I was in. It was a top business school in the Northeast, right outside of Boston. People are talking about these career paths they're about to get into when they graduate. I think that competitiveness. I think the competitiveness and the school being 2,500 people, but like 75% was international. So I was going to school with kids from Saudi Arabia, from countries I had never even heard of. So the community, I think, if anything, it was just I was learning how to navigate being around all these different people. But also I think that stems back to my high school. I went to high school with Puerto Ricans, whites. I'm going to say if there's a lesson I've learned, it's people. Wow. Yeah, that is for sure. It's just learning how to communicate with people and see people as people. Yeah. I know that sounds so crazy, but I know there are people in this world right now that will see another person of a different nationality, color, skin, and they just like, I saw it in college, they just like, you could see that they felt awkward because of this other person. I went to high school with whites, Puerto Ricans, blacks, Ukrainians, Russians, Polish. I went to a very mixed high school. Yeah. And what I thought was so normal to me in my little bubble, graduating high school, is not. There's kids that go to school with all the same types of whatever they are, just a bunch of clones. Yeah. So I think if there's any lesson that I've learned through college and high school, it was how to communicate with people and not and strip away, put up a barrier between the person you're communicating with and just listen to them and just have that conversation. That's the lesson. That's the one thing that I keep going back. It's not something I hate to say it, not something I learned in the classroom, not something that I learned from a certain project in college. College it bought me time. I'll never regret college because it bought me 4 years to really figure my shit out. Because if you ask me when I graduated college, what are you doing next? I'm going to the corporate world. Why? I want to get a nice suit. I want a nice car. I want a nice watch. I want to climb the ladder for 30 years. And it wasn't until my junior year I had an internship and I actually experienced that world and I go, nope, this is not for me. So, thank God I did that internship.
Let me ask you this, because I think that's probably the highest percentage of response that people give. Is it bought me time, or it was
100%.
I was
got
able
to grow up.
Yes, I think that's kind of across the board, right? Mm-hmm. So, is there a better way? Would be my question. Is there a better way to where you're not? I don't know if you paid for college.
Oh, I did, and I'm in debt, six figures for sure.
Okay. So,
fine.
Is there a better way to buy time or to go through a process where you can figure out what you want to do, who you are, for a fraction of the cost?
I don't know. That's a great question because there needs to be that next thing.
Yeah.
And that I don't know. I think what's probably happening now is high schoolers are now tapping into podcasts and now are starting to learn,
educate themselves,
starting to educate themselves more outside the box. Yeah. And I don't know, because that's the hardest thing for me. It's like, I agree with you before how you'd said, you know, unless you're going to school to be a lawyer, doctor, maybe a police officer, you don't need to go anymore.
Yeah.
It's hard for me because I did it and I can't sit here and say, don't go to college, because it was honestly probably one of the best things I ever did, because it taught me exactly what I didn't want to do. And it put me in an environment where I got an email 6 months after graduating. Congrats to the class of 2016. 99% of you are enrolled in a full-time career. And I was part of that 1%. I was part of that 1%. I was just a kid that people look at me like, you're graduating, you're not getting a job? Huh. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You're starting a podcast?
Yeah.
I'd laugh. Not laugh, but like, if I could take a snapshot of this board, of the guests that I've met, of who I am today, and I could hand that with the diploma to the kid who graduated with, shook, Mikey, shook. If I showed you a picture from graduation day, you would see somebody who looks happy but is so scared, because I was scared, man. Huh. I was probably one of the very few students in that crowd that was like, I'm about to graduate and I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I have this idea maybe to start a podcast. Don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah.
I wasn't creating content. I wasn't putting out a voice to the world. I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. But to answer your question, I don't know what that next step is after high school. I think that 18 to 22 is still a learning curve. It's still you could think back to who you were at 18 to 22. Like I still feel like a kid at 25. Like, there's got to be something, and I just preach that I hope people are listening to more podcasts. I get high schoolers in my Ubers, and I'm just kind of picking their brain, like, hey, listen, do you listen to podcasts? Like, I'm not trying to sell it to them, but I want to see, like, is the younger generation starting to like learn and listen to these conversations? Because I think that's, if there's anything I can credit to growing in the last 3-ish years since starting this, just listening. Yeah. Ask questions. Have a great conversation with guests, but just listen to what they've learned, take that wisdom and their experiences, and then add it into my life. But I hope that something or somebody comes up with that next step, because it's an expensive 4 years to buy. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I would have rather take that and invest it into real estate. But when I graduated high school, similar to you, that to me felt like the only step.
Yeah.
I have to go to college.
Yeah.
Fortunately for you, had like that passion. There was no question. I'm going to college.
Yeah.
Where am I going is the big question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, communicating with people, but I don't know what that next step would be. Huh. That's a great question. That's probably I'll give that like question or two questions, probably like one of the better ones in the last probably 6 months. Yeah. I don't know. I get a lot of good questions, but
I'll take that.
That was good, Mikey. To wrap this all up, one, where can people find you on social media?
Best way is Instagram, just Mikey Taylor.
Mikey Taylor. Very simple.
Simple.
Slide.
You can find anything else from there.
Yeah. Go to his Instagram right now. Drop a bunch of bearded man emojis on his recent post. Slide through his DM. Drop some bearded man emojis and let him know what you enjoyed most about this podcast. Before I ask the final question, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come in today, man. This has been incredible.
Yeah.
Just seeing the energy you put out in the world right now and just trying to share that wisdom. Like I said before, just growing up and not even being a skater, but just loving that community and seeing who you're surrounded by with, being a previous guest at Drama's Pod and just everything you have going on. I'm just so thankful to have you come in today and spread the knowledge. So thank you for coming in.
Of course.
Last question for you. Somebody that's listening hasn't found that passion, hasn't found that purpose out just yet. They have this big question mark of what are they supposed to do? What's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice you'd give them?
Oh, man, that's a good one. You got to end with a good one, huh?
Always.
You know what? I think for me, people sometimes don't think that your passion is your career, right? Even with them hearing us say it, like, oh yeah, like find your passion and then like that can be your job. But a lot of people go, like when they're actually in it, they don't like realize the two can be the same, right? Like for example, what's something you just love doing? Let's say, yeah.
I love people. I mean, I love just chill, like hanging out with people and just hearing conversations. Like,
okay, so look, you find something that you like doing, right?
Yeah.
That you could do at all times, right? Never feel like a job, just feels like fun. Once you know that, then it's like being creative of how you could use that skill set in a job or creating a job around it, right? For example, let's just use me for. I really like real estate. I've invested in it so long. I love the tool it is, right? But I am not like the diehard crunching every number, looking at every deal. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think people would struggle like, yeah, like I like talking to people. I like the visionary stuff. I like being creative, but how could that be real estate, right? I found a way to take my passion and things I like and apply that into what I'm doing with real estate to make it now feel like my passion, right? So I think like you got to get creative and find ways to apply what you like into other things. It doesn't have to be so black and white, right? Well, I love talking. Okay, you're going to be I don't know, TV host.
Yeah.
Like, no, like you could be a lot of things, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or like skateboarding, right? You could love skateboarding. You don't have to be a pro skateboarder to be your passion. There's so many ways to apply skateboarding into so many different industries that you can find your something that you're interested in and make that your job.
Work for the brand, make videos for skaters.
Totally.
Reverse engineer like what that passion is and like what are all these different fields that I can get into.
Look, I love Instagram.
Yeah.
I said, dude, I just like sitting on Instagram. I sit on it all day. Well, how can you make Instagram your job? Well, almost every company out there needs somebody helping them manage their Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's just like being creative and looking at like, well, how can I like hack this?
Yeah. It's got to be like a game almost.
It's all a game. I think this whole thing's a game.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mikey Taylor.
All right, dog.
Absolute pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course.
We'll catch you guys next time. See ya.